It's 3 a.m. You're lying awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying a conversation from hours ago. Did I say the wrong thing? Your mind is stuck in a loop of what-ifs, and it feels like your own brain has turned against you. What if I told you this isn't a personal failing, but a predictable brain pattern? Every single anxious thought that crosses your mind can literally change the physical structure of your brain. And the wild part is, most of us don't even see it happening. But here's the hopeful part. If your brain can wire itself into these frustrating patterns, you absolutely have the power to intentionally wire it back. So why does this happen? Why does your brain get stuck on repeat, playing out the same worries? It's not broken. It's actually trying to protect you, just in the most exhausting way imaginable. This whole cycle is run by three key players in your brain. First up is your prefrontal cortex, the sophisticated planner right behind your forehead. When you overthink, this region is desperately trying to solve the uncertainty you're facing. But here's the twist. When you're under chronic stress, hormones like cortisol don't send the prefrontal cortex into a useful overdrive. They actually weaken it. Chronic stress can impair the prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate emotions and make rational decisions, making it harder to shift your attention and calm down. It's like revving a car engine in neutral. A lot of noise and heat, but you're not going anywhere. Think of your brain like a record. The first time you worry about something, you create a faint groove. The next time you have that worry, the needle slips into that groove a little more easily. This is neuroplasticity in action, the brain's incredible ability to reorganize itself. Every time you replay an anxious thought, you deepen that neural pathway, making it the brain's default road. Your brain literally learns to be anxious. The second key player is a system called the default mode network, or DMN. Think of it as your brain's daydreaming or mind-wandering engine. It lights up when you're not focused on a specific task. In people who overthink, this network doesn't always quiet down when it should. Its activity can become dysregulated. It takes healthy self-reflection and twists it into obsessive rumination. Research shows that when certain parts of the brain involved in self-reflection get stuck in sync with this network, it creates a vicious cycle of replaying past mistakes and imagining future problems, trapping you in a loop. Finally, there's your amygdala, the brain's ancient alarm system. Its job is to detect threats and keep you safe. In overthinkers, this alarm can be hypersensitive, constantly scanning for danger. The real problem is that stress weakens your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain that's supposed to give the amygdala a reality check. Without that regulation, the emotional alarm bells run wild. The connection between our modern brain's social concerns and our ancient brain's threat response is why we get stuck ruminating about social situations, wondering, what did they think of me? If overthinking is so draining, why is it so hard to stop? It comes down to a powerful psychological trap, the illusion of control. When you're contemplating on a problem, you feel like you're doing something productive. It feels like if you just analyze it for one more minute, from one more angle, you'll finally crack the code. But the neuroscience tells a different story. The more you dwell on an anxious thought, the more you activate and strengthen that anxious circuit. You are, in essence, practicing being anxious. This creates a nasty feedback loop, where your brain incorrectly learns that the solution to anxiety is more thinking, when that thinking is the very thing fueling the fire. Over time, this process becomes automatic. Your brain operates on a use it or lose it principle. The neural pathways you use most become stronger and faster, while the ones you neglect wither away. This is why overthinking can feel so out of your control. Your brain has rehearsed this response so many times, it doesn't need your conscious permission anymore. It's not a character flaw. It's a neurological habit, reinforced thousands of times. And the best news is, habits can be rewired. Here's where it gets truly fascinating. The same principle that got you stuck is your ticket out. Your brain's ability to change means you can deliberately rewire those well-worn pathways with consistent practice. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's about using science-backed techniques to build new neural highways. This powerful technique is a cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy. The first step is to relabel the thought. When you catch yourself in a loop, mentally say, "This isn't me. This is just a deceptive brain message." Or, "This is my overactive amygdala." This simple act creates distance. You're no longer the thought. You are the observer of the thought. The second step is to reframe it. Acknowledge that the feeling is a symptom of your brain's wiring, not objective reality. You might tell yourself, "This sense of urgency isn't real. It's a neurological glitch." Once you've relabeled the thought, you need to actively shift your attention. The goal isn't to suppress the thought, but to starve that neural pathway of energy. Choose a productive, engaging activity. Listening to music, solving a puzzle, taking a walk, anything that requires focus. Then use the 5-minute rule. Commit to it for just 5 minutes. Often, after 5 minutes of genuine focus, the emotional charge of the overthinking loop will have faded. You're actively weakening the old pathway and building a new one every single time you do this. Metacognition is simply thinking about thinking. It's about changing your relationship with your thoughts. Instead of getting tangled up in them, you learn to observe them with detached curiosity. A classic mindfulness technique is to view your thoughts as clouds floating by. You see them, you acknowledge them, but you don't grab onto them. You just let them drift by. This practice of detached mindfulness reduces the emotional power of your thoughts, teaching your brain that they don't need an emergency response. This might sound backward, but it's a highly effective cognitive behavioral therapy technique. Instead of letting worry contaminate your entire day, you quarantine it. Set aside a 10-minute timer each day. This is your dedicated worry window. During this time, you can overthink all you want, but when the timer goes off, you must stop and move on. If a worry pops up later, tell yourself, "I'll deal with that during my scheduled time." This teaches your brain that rumination has a specific, contained place in your day. Overthinking isn't just in your head. It's a full-body experience. One of the quickest ways to break the loop is with physical movement. Research suggests that engaging in movement can help interrupt the rigid thought patterns of rumination. Doing something as simple as 10 jumping jacks or a brisk walk can work wonders. Physical activity helps divert attention away from negative thoughts and can help shift brain activity, breaking you free from the overthinking cycle. You're literally using your body to hit the reset button on a glitchy neural program. So, overthinking isn't a sign of weakness. It's a neurological pattern, reinforced by your brain's own survival instincts and its incredible capacity to learn. But the most important discovery in neuroscience is that this process works both ways. If your brain can learn to default to anxiety, it can also learn to default to calm, clarity, and focus, using the exact same mechanism: neuroplasticity. You are the architect of your own mind. You have science-backed tools to pick up a mental hammer and chisel and start building new pathways. You can rework and rewire the very thoughts that hold you back. The question is no longer if you can change. The question is, which of these techniques will you start with today to begin your rewiring journey? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe for more science-backed strategies to master your mind.